James Bond is a character invented by Ian Fleming and was first introduced in 1953. The first novel was called Casino Royale. Fleming wrote 12 books about the famous British spy. Casino Royale has been adapted several times for the franchise. The first occasion was with actor Barry Nelson from Climax Television adaptation one from 1954. Eon Productions started to develop Dr. No into a feature film based on the sixth novel of the books. The franchise of James Bond has been one of the most successful franchises and a long-running film series. British author Ian Fleming was a former naval intelligence officer who wrote the series between 1953 to 1966. It's possibly that he took inspiration from this experience and implemented it in the character of James Bond. Fleming's father was a member of the British Parliament and from a wealthy family with connections to Robert Fleming and Company. Fleming liked to drink and smoke heavily, causing his demise. Thus, two novels were published posthumously after his death at age 56 on August 12, 1964. His works about the famous Flex spy Miss Bond has been portrayed in 27 films with 7 different actors. The name Bond is based on the ornithologist James Bond, a bird expert whom Fleming took the name from. It was first when Dr. No became a success in the 1960s that the bird expert became in contact with the author. Several references to Bond are made throughout the franchise. It was first in 1958 that Eon Production, the British production company, started developing an adaptation of our famous spy. The first film to be adapted was Dr. No with Sean Connery in the lead, directed by Terence Young. Following the low budget, Dr. No was a commercial success and started a trend of other spy stories flourishing around. It was with this film that started the iconic soundtrack, the classic introduction, and the overall characteristics that followed the character 7 decades later. Some critics nicknamed Connery's portrayal a Harry Marshmallow, and others said that it didn't look like Fleming's Bond. It was a mixed reception for the film, yet it launched a something successful series. From Russia with Love arrived the year later in 1963. The production budget was doubled, and the film team was returning to shoot a major part of the film at Pinewood Studios in London. The secret criminal organization of Spectre was properly introduced in From Russia with Love. In this film, they take out revenge for what Bond did to Dr. No in Jamaica in the former movie. Ernst Stavro Blofeld was properly introduced, as well as the criminal mastermind of the organization. The film was also directed by Terence Young. From Russia with Love explores the Cold War aspect by changing Smerch to Spectre, avoiding political undertones. This film has given better reviews decades later, saying the film ages better through the years. Afterwards, the film is considered a blockbuster, generating critical acclaim and commercial success. It's even the first installment in the series to win BAFTA for Best Cinematography. Goldfinger from 1964, directed by Guy Hamilton, the first of Hamilton's 4 Bond movies. In this spy thriller, Connery's Bond investigates Auric Goldfinger. During the filming, a small pay dispute broke out, but was resolved after Connery had a back injury. After that, Connery's salary rose. Had a back injury. After that, Connery's salary rose. This film was monumental as it shines the light on Bond's gadgets in the series, the high technical stuff that later becomes synonymous with the famed book character. It was based on the 1959 novel of the same name. Goldfinger cashed in well at the box office, a financial success, earning the budget of the film in 2 weeks. It was also the first film in series to win an Oscar for Best Sound Effects. Thunderball achieved a lot of technology with its underwater photography, filming in widescreen Panavision, and the first crushing the 2-hour mark. It won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. Some critics welcomed the film, while others thought it was repetitive and complained about the lengthy runtime. In this one from 1965, Bond tries to retrieve 2 stolen nuclear NATO bombs. Between 1962 and 2006, there was some legal dispute as Thunderball was meant to be the first film in the series. Producers McClory and Jack Whittingham sued the author Ian Fleming for his novel, claiming it was based on their screenplay. It was in the end resolved with a non-Ian production in 1983 titled Never Say Never Again, with Kevin McClory as an executive producer. These underwater scenes were filmed in Bahamas. In the pool, the plexiglass wasn't fixed correctly, making one of those sharks attack Connery. Production designer Ken Adam comment on the incident in The Guardian. Quote, "We used a lot of sharks for this movie. I rented a villa in the Bahamas with a saltwater pool, which we filled with sharks and used for underwater filming. The smell was horrendous. This was where Sean Connery came close to being bitten. We had a plexiglass corridor to protect him, but I didn't have quite enough plexiglass, and one of the sharks got through. He never got out of a pool faster in his life. He was walking on water." End quote. At the end of the film, Sean Connery had trouble with his 32-month marriage with Diane Cilento. The actor spoke out on being harassed by the fame of the character, only giving an interview with the adult magazine Playboy. You Only Live Twice from 1967 was the first film to be directed by Lewis Gilbert, and the first to have a slight decline at the box office caused by stagnation of the spy genre. Most of the film takes place in Japan. Gilbert first denied to direct the film, but did the gig after being convinced by producer Albert R. Broccolii. The production was fixated on only one country, Japan, and a wedding, which is unique for a globe-trotting experienced spy as Bond. Akira Kurosawa's old studio, Toho Studio, helped the Americans with the soundstage personnel, Japanese female actors and producers. Sean Connery started to get tired of the role after playing him 5 times now. The producer kept him in with the role for a higher raise. He had claimed that it was difficult to find other jobs and fear being typecast. It was a film that critic Roger Ebert said the repetitive formula has lost its magic, equaling its mediocre reviews. Others celebrating its deep dive into Japanese culture. She Only Lived Twice is the return of a recast with Ernst Stavro Blefeld. Diamonds Are Forever, a 1971 spy film, is the seventh film produced by Eon Production. It's the sixth and final film with Sean Connery in the Eon film series. He declined his appearance on Her Majesty's Secret Service in 1969. Guy Hamilton returns as a director for a second time. Shirley Bassey sang the title's theme song. It takes place in Las Vegas, California, and Amsterdam. It's regarded as a commercial success, even if the first reviews was a downer. With Hamilton returning, the producers eager to replicate the success of Goldfinger. Diamonds Are Forever is the first film in the series to have production in the United States instead of the United Kingdom, mostly because the director struggles with the trade union during the filming of Battle of Britain. The production used actor Kirk Douglas' house for the scene in Tiffany Case's home. Sean Connery was age 52 when making Never Say Never Again. The film marks his age despite Connery being younger than Roger Moore, who would later replace him. The film was the final one of a 12-year run by Connery of playing Mr. Bond. In this film, they visit France, Spain, the Bahamas, and a studio in the United Kingdom. The film was directed by Irvin Kershner, who 3 years prior directed The Empire Strikes Back. It was Connery's final film, and he said a decade before never to play the role again, and yet did it. Bond gets involved with Spectre again, with nuclear threats and NATO involved. Never Say Never Again is regarded outside the continuum of the official series, as it was distributed by Warner Brothers in October 1983. It was Rowan Atkinson's first movie, Lady Paradise the Spy, with his Johnny English films. Barbara Carrera didn't have a body double when making her love scenes, with Connery stating that new scenes didn't bother her. The Sean Connery, born Thomas Connery on August 25, 1930, died October 2020, has given a long-standing legacy of a character that still resonates with the audience decades later. His portrayal of the slick, iconic British spy has made a remarkable impact on the history of the franchise.